update. Day 3. Not moving as fast as I want to, but hopefully I'll still have it, at least the frames on today. So a height block off the, by the way, that's my strong back setup. So I build multiple boats, and so I kind of have a little deal set up and I just add to it on the length of the boat. But the height block, my transom, getting ready to put the keelson on, which I have made up there. Another couple height blocks to hold the keelson up, and then I have my stem. You can see center line marked. Center line marked. My ever-present boat building mascot eyeing me up. PL Premium. See my center line, center line. So I'm going to line these up, squish it into glue, and give her some screws. I don't think I went over the frames yet, how I do them. I'll put it up in place, align the lines. I've got an index mark here. Took a square, made a straight line across it, so the line's on that side. And my center line is right there, lined up. So clamp it in place, get the lines all lined up, take a drill this hole and this hole, and then I run the screw all the way into it on both of them. And in this case I've done that already, backed them out, and I'll drop this clamp down, and I'll take the glue and I'll put some glue on the frame. Had the frame down here, put some glue on it, put it back up. It's already indexed because I've run the screws in it. Run the screws down and we're attached. And you can see this one's been done, and you can see the glue squish it out, and that's how I do it. Nice and simple. Since I do all this on my own, this is my helper. A little update on the day. It's really going to be end of day 3. Yeah, 3. Not bad. I'm pretty happy actually. Got my scarves done on my longitudinals, shear and chine. So got the bow section shaped how I wanted it, and all glued in, lagged. So we're kind of sitting just like so. So I had framed out this frame for the flat bottom, because I was going to do the flat bottom version, and then last night around 2 a.m. I was like, yeah, I got an idea. So so this was framed in. All I did, because it goes right there, is cut out 1.5 inches, and then I put this across the bottom to hold it at its width. So I'm just going to kind of plug it into those lines right there and screw it in, and that should be it. Well, I'll have to come back and I'll make triangular floor pieces to fill all this back in, but I think it's coming along pretty good. Morning of day 4. I did my scarves, I sanded them off. It came out good, so I'm going to run them through my planer, get them down to 3/4 thickness, because they're 5/4 right now. Since I build self bows, I know that 1/4 inch can be a major difference in its bending ability. you could tell by the sound of the planer that it was planing one side of that but not the other. As you can see, there was two different thicknesses. Obviously that would bend differently. I mean, yeah, I'm splitting hairs, straws, whatever on that, but it would. And when you go to do that, if you do plane them, make sure that your scarf joint is not facing, your leading edge is not facing, it's facing away. So it planes over it this way and it's not able to grab that and lip it up. Alright, there they are, finished up, planed, scarf joint. I got a little void there. I'll smear some glue in there and fill it up. They're all pretty much identical, as much as they can be. I edge planed, surface planed. And here's the aftermath. So that's where I'm at after 3 days, starting from lumber on the trailer. I cut a piece of the shear clamp chine log material off. I ran a batten strip, checked the lines on it. You can see I got a little belly in here, so I'm going to take 1/8 more out of here and probably 1/4 more out of this. That'll keep my arc going pretty good. So what I'm going to do, or how I get my marks for my cutout, is I just lay this in there like so. Keep that upper edge there so I can fair this part off of it, and then I'll go in here and take a pencil and mark the inside of that piece on both sides, staying up to that corner, and then I'll cut it out, and then it should just fit right in there. I'll do that on every one of these frames. And remember, it's your wall framing that is your most important fit. If you have a gap on the inside floor framing and it's tight here, it's not as critical as it is on the wall framing, in my opinion. So we'll just go through, mark all those out, move my batten strip up, and keep going, and cut them all out. Okay, so here's a good example. When we get to the bow section, you can see this gap right here, and obviously no gap here. I drew a line here because remember I said we want the wall frame to be our measure, not the inside frame, is the way I do it. And so I want my reference point to be here, so I drew a parallel line with this, so when I lay the block in there now, this block will be laid in like that, and I will draw the inside of it. That way, when it's set in there, I'm in a good line, hopefully arcing back along the boat. You see this one touches, so I'll have to set back and go in some. And this one, the gap is a bit smaller, so I'll still be back in around like that to get my line. So that's what I was referring to, is watch this. Don't go, oh my god, how do I handle this? It's simple. Your reference point's the inside of this wall framing, because this point to here gets ferried out. So you have the plywood to rest on it. I got my line marked out, crossed up. Same with here. Same with here. All the way back. So now it's time to cut it out. You know, this is where, being a carpenter, I had the luxury of tools that most carpenters use, you know, especially framers. So I'll show you how I cut this out. Alright, maybe not. This is what I use. my little fine tool so I can plunge bit it, my Japanese saw, which is indispensable. I'll use a Sawzall, good long bit, and I'll use my jigsaw. I probably will just sort of stay with that for firewood. Got all the cutouts done. Some of them are not so pretty, but they're done. Alright, so I'm laying my chine log, side by side, and then I'll go down. I marked out every 16 inches. Just did that because I'm used to working with that number, stud distance and all. But what I'll end up doing with that, I'll make marks on both of them all the way across, and then it'll give me reference marks. You can see I clamped it together, made my marks. So these are my reference marks, and we'll see how this all works out. Did the whole thing all the way along there. When I go to line it up with the frames, no, it won't be the distance of the frame, but it'll be a measuring reference. As long as I set one of them, or set them even on both sides to start off with, I should be in pretty good shape. But you know, you can see right there that that framing member is crooked just because of the rocker of the boat. And if I have a reference mark, I can make sure that if they're going to both be crooked, they're at least both the same crooked. But let's hope we don't go that way. So now it's time to dry fit it, and if it works out, you can see right there I cut a little deep. Just thinking about catching a shark or something. A little bit better on this one. We'll dry fit it. If it works out, I'll pull it off, glue it, and put her back on.